Okay, so yeah, that's going to be part two of that sermon I just did on what was, what is, and what is to come. So my last point here is that you can have a fixed future. So you had a frightening past before you got saved. Then you have a fruitful present. At least you're supposed to have a fruitful present and serve the Lord to your utmost capacity. And then you can have a fixed future. Now, the reason I say it's fixed is because if you're saved, if you believe in Jesus Christ, you're going to heaven no matter what. I know some denominations or some Christians believe that you can lose your salvation, and that this is a prevalent belief, but you actually can't. Now, that's going to be a separate video. I will be doing that at some point about eternal security versus on eternal security. I will be doing videos about that at some point because that's an important topic. A lot of Christians do have that misunderstood. But your eternity is fixed. You're going to heaven no matter what. Now the difference is, so it's like, well, what's the point then if you're going to heaven no matter what? It's like it's guaranteed if you believe in Jesus Christ. Well, the difference is that some Christians, they're going to end up better than others. When you serve the Lord, He does reward you. So it's not like, because if He didn't, then it'd be pointless. Like, what's the point? Like, don't do anything, right? You're still going to heaven. And yeah, that's true. You can do nothing and still go to heaven at this point. But if you do serve the Lord, you do get rewarded. And there is a difference, and that could be another sermon on how you get rewarded. Now, I can't exactly tell you for sure how that's going to play out. I don't know. In eternity, we will find out. Some Christians will get rewarded better than others, and that will play out some way in eternity. But I don't know the details of that. Nobody really knows the details of that. There are some hints at it in Book of Revelation about how that will play out, but that's it. There isn't that much said about it in the Bible. But so yeah, that's your fixed future. That's the best. The best is saved for last. In heaven there is no suffering, there's no pain, no turmoil, and that's the best. The best is saved for last, and that's what you strive for. You strive for that eternity, and so it's very hard to comprehend because your lifespan is like what, 80 years maybe at best. I mean, like average. If you live a healthy lifestyle, you might live to 80, 85. If you're doing really well, maybe 90, 100, maybe a little more than that. But that's it. And that seems like a long life, but a lot of people say it's not long enough. As people get older, time goes by faster, and I will definitely agree with that. Like, I'm not even that old, and I already feel like time is going faster than it did 10 years ago. And time will continue to keep going faster, and then one day you're gone. And that's just that 80 years is small compared to all of human history, which is like 6,000 years, and that wasn't very long. That 80 years is very little compared to the 6,000, and that 6,000 years is very little compared to eternity. Eternity is infinity. Uh, Infinity is literally, you can't comprehend it. It's infinity. Think of the biggest number you can think of. It's not big enough. Infinities will always be bigger than the biggest number you can think of. So it's eternity. It's forever, and we can't really comprehend that because we don't really understand that the concept of that you will be living forever, eternity. So serving God in this little short span of time, this 80 years or less or more, however much God gave you, to get rewards is worth it. And instead of spending it on yourself, you can spend it on God and serving others and be rewarded for that for eternity, not just for those 80 years. So we have so yeah, there is a big payoff for it, but since we're so stuck in our daily selfish lives and sin, we don't always think about that. In fact, we often don't, and many people never think about that stuff. But you should think about eternity. You should tell other people about Jesus. You should tell people hey, join in. Heaven there's unlimited space in heaven for as many people as want to get in. So try to get more people over there and serve God, and He will reward you. You will get something in return. There is a blessing for serving God. We just don't always realize it right now. And so yeah, it's a fixed future. Like you can't lose it. It's fixed, but You can get rewarded better by doing more for God right now. So you do want to have a good, fruitful present, and so that fixed future, it's going to be even better. So that's everlasting life. So actually, I wanted to read, Daniel chapter 4, verse 3. Daniel chapter 4, verse 3. Here it says, "How great are his signs, and how mighty are his wonders. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and his dominion is from generation to generation." So yeah, it's from generation to generation, so that it just keeps going. Like there is no stop to it. It's not just a few generations and it ends. Like how human kingdoms, they don't last very long. Like a dynasty in China might last a couple hundred years. That was like one of the best. Maybe a couple hundred years. And no, this is eternity. This is forever. Like God's kingdom is just going to keep going. So so you want to work towards the prize. You're going to heaven, but you do want to get rewarded. So the work you put in now will be rewarded. When you go to school, for several years to learn how a trade, so you could do your job, to learn some skills, so you could do your job later. At first, you're not being rewarded for it. You have to put in a lot of work and a lot of effort. But then you get your degree, and then you can get a job. Hopefully, that's not always the case, unfortunately, but in theory, that's how it should work, that you get a job. With the things going the way they are right now, more people are starting to lose faith that this works. But in theory, in the past, this is how it was supposed to work. That you put in time, you get a degree, and then you can get a job, and then you get rewarded afterwards for the hard work you put in at the beginning. You put in hard work, and then you get rewarded later. And that's exactly how it is in heaven. God rewards you for your hard work. So you'll be missing out on riches in heaven if you do not work, if you do not serve the Lord. If you do not serve the Lord in the capacity that He gave you. If He gave you more talents and you're not using them, that's bad. You're gonna lose out on stuff. And if you get less, then God expects less from you, because you did stuff with the little He gave you. So make the most of your time. You only have so much time on earth, so you might as well spend it correctly, because it's a finite resource. Time is a finite resource. Unlike money you can accumulate more money, by putting in time. But time is finite. You're only going to have a finite amount of time, and you don't actually know how much time you have, because you don't know when God's going to take you home. But even if it is 80, 90 years, that's still a lot of time to waste, and a lot of people do waste those years. So you want to be found among the wise that do spend their time wisely for the Lord, for things that actually matter, instead of wasting your time. And that doesn't mean you can't enjoy your life. There are times to play, and then there's times to work. So just know that you want to have a healthy, balanced life. There is a fixed future, so always look at that whenever things go bad, when things get depressing, when you start losing your joy. Just remember that there is a fixed future. Heaven is just around the corner, and it will be there for you, and it's guaranteed. It's fixed. It's not. You can trust God. You can't trust man. Don't trust man, because people can make promises, but our ability to whatever we promise, it might not. We can't make it happen. We're not all powerful. Only an all powerful being like God can promise something, and you can be 100% sure that it will happen, because this is God. A human person, they can try to promise, but they're limited. They don't have full power to make their promises come true, even if they do mean well. They can't guarantee any of that for you. So just know that's how things are. So always look to that future. Yeah. So in conclusion, make the most of your life. I mean, God saved you from this frightening past, and you can have a fruitful present. You can make the most of the time that God gave you. And yes, heaven is guaranteed to you if you believe in Jesus Christ. You're guaranteed to go there, but you might as well make the most of it. You might as well be a good Christian and do right, and you get rewarded instead of being ashamed. You don't want to live a life of shame. if you're a Christian and you're not doing right, it's going to bother you. You're going to be ashamed. And you don't want to be ashamed. You don't want to be ashamed before God. You don't want to be ashamed before Jesus Christ. So yeah, make the most of it. Yeah, so see you next time. I'm going to keep making sermons, and I'm hoping the Lord makes the most of this.